Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other video that I have posted in the past. If you have any video that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. The goal of my YouTube channel is to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routines and to make home cooking creative, efficient, practical, as well as fun. Now in this video, I would like to demonstrate to you how to cook a traditional Cantonese pan-fried noodles. Now this noodles dish is very well known in the southern part of China. It is a very distinctive way to make noodles because you pan-fry the noodles and it creates a nice crispy texture. It's clearly my wife's favorite. Now recently, a viewer wrote to me about how to convert a spaghetti pasta noodles into like a ramen noodles by using boiling the noodles in baking soda. I have heard of this method, but I have never tried it before, and I decided I'm going to give it a try. Even though in the past when I cook noodles, I use specific noodles such as spaghetti noodles versus ramen noodles, although I do use spaghetti noodles for other type of dishes other than making a spaghetti meal. So I decided maybe I will try this and see how it will be different from the regular spaghetti noodles. Now, after I make the noodles, actually I'd make quite a large portion. I make about 2 pounds of noodles, and the reason is that I want to use these noodles and cook it in many different ways. And one of the way I decided I'm going to try is to make it with this Cantonese pan-fried noodle method. Now this method actually is quite simple and straightforward. Basically, you take noodles that have been already cooked, and then you fry them. And you fry them to a point that it will create a crispy texture. Now, however, there is one challenge when it comes to fried noodles, because noodles contain a high level of starch, and starch have a tendency to burn to the surface of a wok, particularly if the wok is not a wok with non-stick coating. However, I use a stainless steel wok, which is a wok with natural surface. And the tendency for the noodles to burn and stick to the bottom surface of the wok is very, very high. However, I discovered that if you store the noodles, that after you cook them, in the refrigerator for up to 48 hours, it will dry them out. And in this case, you can pan fry them in a stainless steel wok in this particular case without having it to stick to the bottom surface of the wok. Now this method turned out to work really well, and it creates a much easier, a simpler way to fry noodles. Because otherwise, if the noodle gets stick, it truly makes a mess and it makes it very hard to clean. So the bottom line is that 2 things you have to do. Make sure you spot season the wok, whether it's a stainless steel wok or carbon steel wok. You put in some cooking oil and let the oil to start to smoke gently. You let it to smoke for about 15 seconds, and then you start to put your food ingredients into the wok. Now it worked extremely well, as you notice that my noodles do not stick to the bottom surface of the wok at all. And this will allow you to fry it to create a crispy texture without having the noodles get stuck. Now this method is an excellent method to cook noodles. In the past, I have used both traditional Asian noodles to cook this dish, like ramen noodles, or I also have used spaghetti pasta noodles. I find that there is a difference. The spaghetti pasta noodle tends to be more, I would call it hard, do not have that softer texture that you find it with traditional Asian noodles, such as ramen noodles. So I'm quite curious how this is going to work out. Now, there are a couple ways you want to make sure that the noodles do not become too burnt. One way is that to constantly stir the noodles and to add additional oil if it is necessary. And then you can let the noodles to sit at the bottom of the wok for maybe 30 to 40 seconds and just let it fry a little bit. Now, sometimes it might get stuck to the bottom surface of the wok, and in this case, a wok spatula becomes very handy. Now, when you cook this dish, you actually much better to cook it in a wok without non-stick coating with a natural surface, because the temperature of the bottom surface of the wok will be higher as in compared to a wok with non-stick coating. Now, wok with non-stick coating has recently under some level of scrutiny, because the chemicals that are used for making the non-stick coating are chemicals that are very resistant to degradation, and that's one of the reasons that why we use those type of chemicals. And the end result is that those chemicals can stick around for a long time. And recently, a number of studies have come to call them as forever chemicals. Forever? Not quite, but they will last for a long time. And the reason is that this chemical can enter into our water supply. And in fact, recently EPA just issued a ruling that it will now force municipal water systems to make sure that they remove these forever chemicals. Unfortunately, these forever chemicals are everywhere, not just in the water supply system, because it has been used in almost everything. And of course, the most well-known use of these forever chemicals is in Teflon, which is responsible for the non-stick coating that you find on the surface of many modern cookwares. Even though we have newer type of a non-stick coating, but the basic chemical structure is belong to this same group of chemicals, and partly because they are very resistant to degradation, so they can last for a long time. But these non-forever chemicals also used in many other type of equipment, as well as packaging. And this type of chemicals now start to become realize that they could have potential long-term health problems. There's still not enough study to show that what is the level of exposure that will lead to many types of chronic diseases, all the way from cancer to inflammation, and perhaps other diseases that affect the metabolism of a human body. So anyway, the best thing is that to stick with cookware that without non-stick coating. And personally, I like the stainless steel wok. As you can see that if you treat the wok properly, you won't have any problem to have the ingredient to stick to the bottom surface of the wok. So at this point, one thing you might want to do is to adjust the temperature of your burner. Now, I use a glass top electric burner, and it works well for me. So as you can see in here, some of the noodles has started to become crisp. They start to brown, and actually they give great flavor to the noodles. And of course, you can cook them as crispy as you would like. And I find that in this particular case, I like it that was somewhere in between. I don't like it to be too burnt, because it is the contrast in texture between the softness of the noodles that has not been burned versus the noodles that has been crisped up. And this gives what this noodles, this great flavor and great texture. Okay, this takes a little bit of time to cook, and usually takes about somewhere between 7 to 8 minutes to achieve the texture that I want. And then I'm going to add some scallions. Now, you can use this noodle in many different ways. And then sometimes you want to add a little bit more seasoning if you want to eat it by itself. For example, in this case, I'm also going to add some minced garlic. And I like garlic, and this will give the noodle really great flavor. So here it is. As you can see that part of the noodles has been crisp, whereas other part of noodle remained to be soft. This is probably one of my wife's favorite noodle dish. And so far as my experience with these noodles, and I think the treatment of the noodles with baking soda actually create a slightly different texture. And this reminds me more of the Asian noodles or the ramen noodles after I fry them. So based on this reaction, as well as based on my taste test, I find that this actually might work out better. So I think from now on, I probably will start to boil my spaghetti noodles, particularly if I have an intention to use it for the purpose of doing Asian dishes. And in here, finally, I garnish the noodles with just a touch of oyster sauce, which now you can actually eat the noodle just the way as it is. But most of the time, I will cook a stir-fry dish and to go on top of the noodles. And this is what most of the time in a traditional Cantonese dish they will do. They will use this as a foundation to serve it with vegetables or meat. Now, in this case, I stir-fry a dish which contains broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and also with shrimp and salmon. So this basically provides this seafood noodle dish. Again, this is a dish that my wife really enjoy. So what we have now is that a very quick dish, and but it provides really an excellent flavor and texture, great culinary experience. It's not something that you can easily get it anywhere else. And this is what the uniqueness of home cooking, and particularly with the fast cooking system. You have a lot of flexibilities. With template-based cooking, you can almost cook anything that you would like, as well as whatever that you have available to you. So this dish contains 3 different kinds of vegetables, actually 5 different kinds of vegetables, and it also contains shrimp and salmon. My wife is a great fan of salmon, and this dish really provides some of her favorite ingredients that she enjoys. So with a little bit of consideration of how you want to make adjustment to this dish, you can create a great noodle dish. And so far my experience is that you can store these noodles for quite some time. In fact, this noodles has been in the refrigerator for about a week, and everything turned out so far so good, and I really enjoy the outcome. So I would like to thank the viewer who asked me this question, and I think it allowed me from this point on to consider using this approach in boiling my spaghetti pasta noodles. So I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. And if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.